Admiral's log. The German Navy has met its match and suffered a decisive defeat, leading them to finally recognize the futility of further conflict. Their surrender is a timely boon for us, coming just as we needed to redirect our focus. With Germany now effectively neutralized, our fleet is liberated to turn its full might against the British. The seas, once teeming with German vessels, are now clear, and our navy, emboldened by successive victories, is ready to confront the British Empire with renewed vigor and strategic precision. This strategic realignment could not have come at a better moment. The British, formidable and ever watchful, have been a persistent thorn in our sides, but now, without the distraction of the German front, we can channel all our resources and tactical acumen into breaking their naval dominance. Our sailors, seasoned by the trials of previous engagements, are prepared for the challenges ahead. The British will soon realize that their underestimation of Spain's resilience was a grave error. This is our opportunity to deliver a decisive blow. It will require us to be even more aggressive than we have been thus far, and I have the perfect target. Hey guys, Stealth here, welcome to episode 13 of the Spain campaign. Today, Spain and Germany are once again at peace. After a quick war, only 6 months, we were able to get a major victory, and the Germans have to pay. They don't have to pay that much, however. This is a bit of a concern. I was hoping for a bit more of a loot bonus, if you will. And regarding their ships, I'm actually inclined to get another battleship. Something big. If only you could get like a mini tooltip that says, hey, the von der Stan is armed with X, Y, and Z, has this much displacement, has this much maintenance a month, stuff like that. I do want to have a bit more firepower in the form of a battleship, because at the moment I don't really have enough tonnage. And this is going to come back to bite me later, because my DDs, they're great, they work well. However, they are not exactly suited to invading, well, anything. Yeah, I'll take the 218 million Guben. I think that's about it. Yeah. It's going to give me 22 million, it's fine, but I got a battle cruiser out of it, which is fairly valuable. Unfortunately, I probably won't really have any good way of dealing with it. Seeing as I don't exactly... Yeah, sure. Seeing as I don't exactly have a very good way of using bigger guns on these ships. Oh, it's that weird-ass Derflinger class. Okay, let's have a look. So this is what we have to work with. This is the refit mode, so I can make changes to the ship. We're going to make sure that she has some better engines, which is going to save me a bit of fuel. Or, sorry, save me a bit of displacement. Some guns have poor fields of fire. This poor thing can't turn at all. Aw, okay, fine. You're removed. I think this ship is going to have to spend quite a lot of time in refits. Because the way that she's set up leaves a lot to be desired, at least by my standards. Auxiliary engine is fine. I do want to have that additional steering on there. I want to have a balanced rudder. Because as we have seen in the previous video, these things just don't slow down, period. I don't know how they do it, but somehow they manage to. Increased flooding protection. They're doing 22 knots, and that's their top speed. Right. Can we slim this down a bit? You can? Tell me how that works in a refit. I understand that if you're refitting a ship, you can actually, let's say, remove a turret and install something else. You can change the barbette. You can maybe even change the main tower. But changing the width of the ship? What are you going to do? Carve it out along the line, the center line, and just remove a couple of planks? It makes no sense. But if that is what the game is going to allow me to do, I will happily do it. Because I think she is dead slow for a battlecruiser. And she has no armor to speak of anyway. So I'm going to put quite a bit of additional armor onto this ship to make sure she can at least, well, take a hit. Any. Let's see. Give me 2 inches of deck armor, preferably. Nothing on the conning tower. This is asking for trouble. What sort of guns you got on there? 15 Mark IIs. When it comes to guns, I'm still Mark II everything. Because I've just never invested into bigger guns. Not research, anyway. How am I going to build this thing out, then? Stereoscopic rangefinder can work. We're going to make sure she has TNT 2 and 2 powder. She's carrying more ammo than she really needs. Barbette 1 is a bit fragile. I don't like that. Her range isn't anything special. Her draft is pretty good, but arguably too much. She doesn't need that much draft. But I'm 2,000 tons over. What is so heavy? Because we're not really using anything that special. We do have way too much engine efficiency. Just remove a funnel altogether. Is it possible just to relocate the main tower? No, not you. Whatever, we'll take that off as well. This thing is going into dry dock for a long time. See, this is already making more sense. This is already making more sense. This is the advanced foredeck tower 4. I can remove that and make it a 6. And now I might be able to fit another gun on there. The way that this ship is turning out is... It's getting more akin to a battleship, especially speed-wise, than a battlecruiser. Like, this is very far removed from what normally a battlecruiser would do, which is hit hard and run away very quickly. This ship is something entirely different. Okay, cut the range. Still 1,600 tons. Remove some of the anti-torp. Wow, that did nothing. What? How? How am I supposed to make this ship work? I have nothing special on here. Nothing. I have 4 turrets, and that's it. Fine. We'll sacrifice the turret on the stern. And... yeah, I just kind of mostly push in, bow in, I guess. Unless I put that... oh, hold on. Here's a thought. Since we're messing up the ship anyway, I might as well try and have another turret amidships. It's not exactly the most elegant way of placing turrets. However... oh, it's not placing turrets at all. However, what it does allow you to do... sorry... is make your citadel smaller. And since it's a 360-degree turret, it'll also allow you to be a bit more efficient with target acquisition. You don't have to swing all the way around the ship. See, these are kind of weird gun layouts, but I think they make more sense than having most of your firepower concentrated on the stern. Because if you're doing 22 knots, you won't run away from anything anyway, so why bother? Secondary guns. We're sporting 8.6 Mark IIIs. Why 8.6? Is there any particular reason, or did you just get the luck of the draw? Okay. I'm going to say this thing overall has a mission profile of go hit big ships. And make sure that with those 8-inch guns you keep everything smaller at bay. That's the objective. So I'm going to try and make those things longer barrels, giving them more range, bigger pen, and hopefully the accuracy to hit at about 5 to 7.5 kilometer range. That's the plan. Regarding secondaries of a smaller type, we have 18 3.9s. Make that smaller, and don't saw off those barrels. I need those. As for the last, I'd say about 3,000 tons, because now we're getting somewhere. I might be able to make this thing go a little faster. Ooh, a lot faster, in fact. Yes. Now we're getting up to battlecruiser speeds. 28 knots. That is definitely something that I appreciate. Give me more main belts. And give me more main belts. Still, I do want to keep this thing alive. Especially as I'm investing quite a lot of money and time into refitting her. Give me more deck armor. Let's see, our citadel should be relatively small. Yeah, it's definitely smaller than when you put guns everywhere. Hold on, you got torpedoes? Where'd you put that? Right. Well, we're going to forgo those. I don't need those. They are generally weak spots in the hull, so I don't want them. Electro-hydraulic turret rotation, that's fine. Capped piercing shells. Arguably, considering the threats that we're facing, this gives me way too much damage potential. This is going to cause overpens, I think. So we're going to go way back to semi-ballistics. And with that, I still have at least, say, 10 kilometer range. More than enough pen that I need. So that should be sufficient. I can try making these long barrels. Reload 70 seconds though with that. I don't like that much. And now we're down to about 57 seconds, and that's not counting crew. Yeah, okay, so we're definitely going to need to do some bigger gun research, because at this rate, I will not really be able to keep up with the big navies. I'm not really planning on it, but that's a whole different issue. Give me an auxiliary engine, and let's say increase the range. No, can't do that. What else can we get? What's our flash fire chance? 7%? It's higher than I would like. What is causing that? Because I do have the 2 powder. I got the most stable version of TNT. I really hope this thing doesn't blow up. I can go for light shells, but yeah. You're kind of lacking pen. Although, considering the threat, again, everybody's running around naked. Nobody has armor. It might actually work. Also, why do I have 2 different types of funnels? 37 and 37.5. This thing is way too expensive for what it does. Sit. Can we increase this to induced? Yes, more engine efficiency, more better. As for... what is that? No. I really dislike the firing arcs of all of those guns. I'm not going to use them. This one is definitely useful. This... do I even have any 3-inchers at this point? Oh, I still got 8 more. They all have shit firing arcs, though. See, this is a little better. This I can play around with. If I can put the same thing on the main tower, I'll probably be able to get some decent fields of fire. Mostly addressing destroyers. But, for example, this firing arc? Nah. I don't like it that much. So I'll preferably put the rest into armor. Making sure the ship survives encounters. Rather than get wrecked. Let's say 9.5 inches of armor is just a bit too much. There. Okay, I think this is a much improved, at least according to my own doctrine, version of the Derflinger class. Let's save that, and let's put this thing into dry dock for 5 months, 6 months? She'll be there a while, that's for sure. She's also by far the most expensive ship in my fleet at $281 million. That's about a third of the naval budget that I currently have in the bank. Nice. I think the changes that I made were good ones. They were also making the ship a lot lighter by 4,000 tons. Yet made the ship more expensive by a substantial margin. So, let's get the Guben refit. And break the bank while we're doing it. As for the rest, I don't really have many encounters. I'm apparently port striking something here. What, on a drive-by or something? Durban? Is that part of South Africa? There's a British battleship coming this way. Yeah, I'm not exactly equipped to deal with a British battleship, probably. I can try taking South Africa off of them, but it would be yet another bit to defend, yet another territory, so I don't want to do that. The rest of the warships that I have, I believe, are ready for another round of fighting. I did refit most, if not all of them. Yeah, except for the battleships. I haven't refit the battleships yet. The US is still lingering here with a couple of heavies, sorry, a couple of light cruisers. So maybe we can send them a warm welcome. With, you know, 1 battleship and 19 DDs. Just go and introduce ourselves and kindly inform them to piss off from the Mediterranean. This is something that the United States has absolutely no business being. Regarding potential territorial expansion, the British are pushing in with an enormous force backed up by the Germans, but the Germans should disappear. So I do need to launch an invasion over here in Gambia. And Gambia has a fairly weak port. It's not that much. So I'm going to relocate this battleship, the Robin, over there to Banjul. But I'll need to get... actually, I'm going to relocate these units to go here. Because I need to do a very quick naval invasion here before these guys take over French New Guinea, or French Guinea. Which is currently held by me. But if it's up to them, that'll change hands very soon. Where are the rest of my warships? The big ones. You are in Dakla. Here. Well, that's good. It means you're quite close to where I need you to go. Excellent. As for my naval merchant rating, I pulled all the ships back, so that I was able to upgrade them to the 1917 standard, so they're just very, very modern at the moment. Well, about as modern as I can make them. And this means that right now we can start sending them back out to go hunt and harass things anywhere and everywhere. I do believe we also have... Yeah, you need to come back here and get modernized. I don't believe we're making much of a dent against the British, because the British have that enormous transport capacity and their army logistics doesn't care. But their economy is not exactly doing very well, at minus 11% a year. China is crashing, Japan is crashing, Russia is crashing. Spain, my Spain, is not doing that well, but at least we're not crashing nearly as bad as they are. The US is crashing, Germany's growing, and France is growing. You can see these economies are all fairly close together at this point. Now, I want to get this territory, and I'm hoping that the British are going to send a fleet to deal with me, so that I can get a couple more victory points. A few months later, the fleet did exactly what I wanted them to do, and I gained control over Gambia. This immediately blocks the invasion that the British had going on here, because, well, I'm not even sure how they got across Senegal. They did. But they were able to get no further, seeing as I took over Gambia. The British didn't lift a finger to stop me. They do seem to have their own issues, but not many. I think they might be waging war in China. So, is that where we're going to find their fleet? In China? Where are the British ships at? There's one destroyer. They have plenty of firepower. They're just not sending it anywhere. Oh, that's ambitious. Walking with 109,000 men into southern China, where you're going to get met by 2.7 million Chinese. And here again, you're just making yourself look stupid. See this? No. No. Britain, that's not how that works. You can go over somewhere and plant your flag and say, this is now mine, but you cannot do that with China. They'll not stand for it. Anyway, seeing as the British are seemingly, I don't know, otherwise engaged, I might go after Gold Coast. Because the port of Accra isn't that big. I can bombard it once or twice and probably take it over. Which does give me potentially more skirmishing potential against the French territories here and the Germans. But we'll just have to deal with that as it happens. So let's send this war fleet over here and take over more of Africa. You can see that we're definitely growing our influence out a bit. It's not exactly where I would want to be, but considering the Spanish campaign is a bit tricky, I'll take whatever territories they want to offer me. Oh, look, there they are. They're definitely going to Southeast Asia on a nice little campaign. Hold on. I was doing preparatory bombardments over here in Wales. Dare I take Wales off their hands? Why not? Aim higher. Aim higher. Send the fleet. We're going to Wales. The British are about to have yet more issues, and this is good for me. I'm not exactly sure if the Russians are much of a threat, especially considering that the Russians seem to have some beef with the Austro-Hungarians. The Austro-Hungarians are rapidly expanding eastward. Anyway, over towards the west, near the port of Bari, we have the British task force, we have the Spanish task force in position. And this is an excellent time. I was waiting for this, because this port strike is going to immediately reduce this thing to scrap, which is good. Because now, that port is, what, like 2,000 tons? It's probably tiny. So it'll not put up much resistance. There you go, 2,000 tons. So, yeah, why not? We're going to invade Wales. Is this going to have repercussions? You bet. The British are not going to take this one lying down, and I do expect them to start sending fleets, which I welcome. I want their battleships. I want to be able to eliminate those. In the meanwhile, I'm spending quite a lot on research, not nearly as much as I would want, but it seems that at 80%, you're getting across this sort of diminishing returns point where you can start spending more, but it doesn't do that much. I am, however, making progress on my small guns. I'm working on the Mark IV 4-inchers. We're slowly but steadily getting better battleships. The Dreadnought 3, lo and behold. And I have done a bit of research into turret mechanisms, allowing for slightly longer barrels. We're going to be getting more turret traverse speed, which is also much appreciated. That's supposed to come out in 1915. And it's now 1918 and a half, so you can see just how far behind the times we really are. The Americans are notably absent. I told them to get out of the Western Mediterranean. They listened. I didn't actually fight them at all. You can see 0 war score. They just, I don't know, patrol, I guess? Are they fighting anybody else? No, just me. Cool. So where are you guys going? What the? Where? You're going here? That's yours? Oh. Okay. So they got Oman. And they're pushing into Yemen. I think they just started. Interesting. I don't really appreciate having the US on the move here. It seems like a bad influence over there, but it's not something I can really address at the moment. No, I'm a little busy. Let's push a couple of DDs into the North Sea. Actually, do I have influence? Oh, I got power projection. It's fine. We'll start taking down transports there too. So, let's go take over Wales. And again, without any influence from the British, I have taken over Wales. Yes, as the Spanish do, they take over Wales. So I suppose it's only fair if we go after Ireland next. The ports of Dublin and Cork are a bit of a threat, though. They'll definitely make it very, very difficult for me to invade that. So what about Liverpool, northwest England? They even got oil. Let's go liberate them, American style. Send the fleet. What's this battle here, then? Ooh. Oh, really? This is not one I really want to fight. I got the Connecticut. That's one of my newer Sentinels. Well, I should say the only Sentinel that I have. We also have the San Marcos and the Unicornio, which is both a Sentinel ship from Denmark, which I built and then exported to them. Unfortunately, they're cadets and green level of crew. These guys are also green. Lovely. We're fighting the Queen Elizabeth with her 8 16.6-inch guns. The British might be very advanced, but I'm not sure if they really have the firepower in order. This might be a Mark I gun. Agincourt, same type of firepower. You know what, let's just fight him. Let's see how far we can get. And, seeing as the British already sued for peace, I said no. I do want to get more territory from them. I might be able to take said territory from them while they're busy rebuilding their fleet. Or, you know, fighting the Russians or anybody else. Alright, so here we have Connecticut, here we have Unicornio, here we have San Marcos. The problem with these, let's say, export ships is that I got the blueprints from the US, I started building those, but only for export. And this means that they have absolutely nothing for armor. My ship, Connecticut, does have armor, because I built it, or I rebuilt it, and I rebuilt it to my own specs. So this ship is at least a little bit more survivable. Regarding those British ships, let's have a look. Yes. Those look like fairly stubby 16-inchers. Short barrels? What's your range on that? Torp 5.4. 15 clicks. And I can hit you at about 16, give or take. You can hit out to 19. We outranged the British. Okay then. I believe their speed is also fairly lackluster. So I can slow down a touch. Hopefully gaining some more accuracy boost. And maybe we can even split up the British fleet like that. I think that the British ships are operating in several different divisions. One might be set to escort, one might be set to scout. There it is. Which means it'll run away from the rest of the division. There's the light cruiser, and there's the destroyer. Which means we can pick those off before we have to actually fight against the battleships. That would be ideal. Accuracy leaves a lot to be desired, but we have about 550 shells, so that should keep us going for at least a decent amount of time. Of course, we're going to lose line of sight because, you know, smoke screens. But let them hide. Just a bit. Let them get this false sense of security, and then they come out the other end of the smoke screen, closer to my ships. And they'll go, whoops! That's a lot of secondaries you got there, sir. See, there we go. Hello, hello. What's this DD up to? 6 torpedo launchers on the stern. They have a couple of 5.1s on the bow. As we have seen in the engagement against the Germans, 5.1s can be remarkably dangerous. Especially against these unarmored battlecruisers of mine. Come on, one good... What? You're blocking 15-inch high explosive shells? What the hell? How do you do that? Because we did not fire any of our secondary weapons at this target yet. So, why? And most notably, how? There you go. Are you doing that? As long as this thing does not turn back, which it won't, it's not turning back, because it doesn't have anywhere to turn back to, like it doesn't change position in the formation, it's going to be dead. And as such, it cannot launch its torpedoes. If this guy would start turning, let's say, that way and then that way, it would drop torps. But I think we'll be able to take it down before that happens. We can do the same thing to the light cruiser. I can even disengage. There you go. Extensive fire. Nice. What about you there? What is your situation? Ooh, you got a lot of torpedo launchers there. That's 8 per side. Okay. They can reach out to 6.6 kilometers. Okay then. That's a little scary. Come on, a couple of HE hits and they might not have any torpedo launchers soon. What's their main guns? 3 6.2, so you're basically a torpedo taxi. Like a couple of 6-inch guns and a couple of 3-inch guns. This thing is not really a threat. Mostly because it's half flooded. And mostly dead. Gone. Okay, who else would like to have a go? Are these battleships up for a fight yet? They're not fast, that's for sure. They were doing what, 22 knots? Maybe a little faster? We're 24 kilometers, we're definitely moving away from them. Okay, so that light cruiser of yours, was that expensive? Not very. I would like to take territory off the British. Just to start boosting my economy a bit, you know, by existing. And as such, I need victory points. So I will have to pick this fight with these battleships. The QE. Oh, you're doing 15? Okay. Fairly expensive. Cramped quarters, so the crew starts dying. Mark 1s, as I predicted, and no armor. Okay, so what's your reload on those? Yeah, and they're 37 caliber, so they are indeed quite stubby. Reload 50 seconds. 52. We're going to take both of these guys down. They won't like it, but that's not my problem. As for these 8-inchers, Mark 3. These are Mark 3. This is Mark 4 for the 1.6. Makes sense. Torpedo launchers out to 5 clicks, so that's fast torps? Yeah, fast 21 inchers. Armor is 110% quality. They have Group 1 armor. Turbines, engines, not even gear turbines. The only armor that they really have is on the superstructure and the turrets. Those turrets are extraordinarily well protected. 23 inches of armor. So if we can just not hit them on the turrets, that would be appreciated. Hold on. Are you something else or what? You got 20 kilometer range? And you have... Huh? Wait. How did you do that? These are the same guns. 16.6, 37. This one has less reload time. Probably because of the trained crew. I can get behind that. But how do they get more range? Do they use a different propellant? Cordite 2. And these guys are using tube powder. Now that might be it. Cordite, I think, is more stable. So this one has less of a flash fire chance. And remarkably good accuracy, come to speak of it. Increase the flank. I really do not want to see one of my battlecruisers go up in flames, because they're very expensive. 188 million. I could just call it a day here. And, okay, fine, we'll use armor piercing. I could just call it a day here and tell my ships to go home, because we've already gotten a couple of kills. And as their escorts are dead, maybe my destroyers can have a go. Ooh. That's good stuff. That was the San Marcos. With their cadets. Lovely stuff, Denmark. Keep it up. We're operating pretty much at the maximum range of our ships. You got lucky there with that ricochet. Let's not push our chances too much. I won't really have to pay for the repair of these ships, but it's still not something that I really want to test. Because any bit of damage that you take, well, less flooding, you will start to see decreasing amounts of victory points after these battleships are dead. If we can sink, ow, these battleships. Okay, that's it. I'm leaving. I don't want to pick a fight. I don't want to lose the San Marcos, and she's going to slow down. Not terribly so yet, but she still doesn't have the flooding under control. Ooh. Good hit on the Agincourt. 20% of your structural gone. And there's another stray shell that hit the Agincourt, knocking out the conning tower. The QE is definitely not in range yet. If I could split these guys up, that'd be great. Because then my fighting chance would be better. But I'm just going to end the battle right here. So that's another 6k victory points. Very nice. I think the next part is going to just be trying to bombard the port that I'm right next to. And then pushing right into it with a naval invasion. And if these British battleships get in the way, well, they're in for a fight. I don't think they will get in the way because they both took a little bit of damage. And with that in mind, they won't be able to fight. They'll be in dry dock. So that's perfectly fine for me. As for my destroyers, I'm sure that they'll be very eager to have a bit of a fight with the Agincourt and the Queen Elizabeth. Because I have 19 of them. So, this campaign, it has started out as a fight against the French. That was the ultimate goal. But now we're taking over territory in Africa. We're taking over random territories over here in the form of the Okinawa Islands. And we're even taking over territory in Britain. Long may that continue. See you guys for the next episode soon, where we're probably going to take more from the British. See you guys there.